August 2024. The relationship has not been normal because the Bangladesh interim regime has not shown any interest in developing the relations between India and Bangladesh. They have made no effort at all to hold talks. This talks between the DGBSF and the BGB have been held after two postponements, after two cancellations. These talks are meant to be held every 6 months, and the previous rounds were postponed by the Bangladesh side. And then, not only that, even the normal agreements that have already taken place between India and Bangladesh on the border, as regards the building of the fence, as regards the coordinated border patrolling, all those are not being observed. And there's no reason from the Bangladesh side why they are not being observed. So it's very easy to say in a very, airy-fairy way that the border, of course, the border is important. The border is very important for India and for Bangladesh. And that is why we had worked out a very detailed sense of coordinated border management, which was working very well. And we have no reason at all why this is not now being observed. And I think this is a big problem that we will hope to get some answers for. We do know that in Oman, in Muscat, there were talks between the External Affairs Minister of India, Dr. Jaishankar, and the Foreign Affairs Advisor of Bangladesh, Tawhid Hussain. But I don't think they produced anything because I do not see any interest from the Bangladesh side in having a positive, forward-looking working relationship with India. This regime, as you know, is now being talked about all over the world as an unelected government. Their only task as an interim government is to hold a free and fair and inclusive elections as soon as possible. But there's no sign of those. So the later that they are delaying the elections, the
Right.
more the world community is realizing that this is an unelected, unconstitutional government.
Okay.
So it is very
Let me take
difficult
that to
to see what
let me in fact take that to Mubin Shadman Khan. Do respond to what Veena Sikri has said, Mr. Khan. This is an unelected government, and it has come to power after the ouster of Sheikh Hasina. Is that also one of the reasons why the relationship between India and Bangladesh is suffering at the moment, especially with respect to the border that we share?
I mean, respectfully, I disagree with ma'am because I think this interim government has sort of clearly stated that they want to hold the elections by December this year to June of next year, right? They're already having talks with political parties. The Election Commission has already started taking steps in that direction. So the elections are definitely underway. What has happened is you have to remember there was a lot of post-July, and this is from Bangladeshi citizens, not the government necessarily. There was a lot of resentment towards Delhi, and I specify not towards India or Indians, but towards the Indian government policy, towards how Hasina was constantly backed in three back-to-back elections, which were controversial and one-sided and rigged. So there was a sense in Bangladesh that Hasina was a puppet government of the Indian regime, and and some of the things that you see, some of the sort of rhetoric that you hear out of Bangladesh are also stemming from that resentment. Having said that, at the government level, I think it took this government, because when Hasina had ruled for 15 years, it took a while for the government to sort of bring things together, to organize themselves. And right now, they're taking all sorts of right steps, at least I think, in terms of building relations with all.
All right. Ambassador Sikri, you wanted to respond to that. Please do. And also, before you answer that, I also want to understand this is a first high-level border talks since Sheikh Hasina's exit. What, according to you, are the challenges ahead here?
The first and most important challenge in the border talks is that the previous agreements that were working very well, that were concluded between the governments of India and Bangladesh, should be observed. They should be observed in letter and in spirit. There's no point throwing everything into the waste paper basket as the interim regime has done. I want to say that it is entirely wrong to describe Sheikh Hasina's government as a puppet regime. India and Bangladesh have always had close relations. We are good neighbors. We've tried to work with every government that has come to power. And when the national government led by Sheikh Hasina answered India's concerns on national security, that was very important for India. So we went ahead with all the economic and security cooperation that led to enormous economic growth, 6 to 8% per year in Bangladesh, and Bangladesh has now been, about to emerge from the least developed countries. But on the other hand, with this government, interim regime, I won't even call it a government, they are, pretending that the 1971 liberation war never took place. They are talking to Pakistan as though there's a long lost brother. They are calling them to look at the border, all the people who committed the genocide against the people of Bangladesh. Perhaps the deputy editor is too young to remember that, but I'm sure he has learnt about it in his studies, in his books, in the feeling of the people of Bangladesh. The people who committed genocide and rape and killed millions of Bangladeshis are now being welcomed with open arms. The world is remarking how radical Islamism is back in Bangladesh at the fore. So what does Bangladesh want? What do the people of Bangladesh want? I am sure they do not want radical Islamism. When you say that your elections are being planned for maybe end of the year or middle of next year, you're talking about reforms before election. Who authorized the interim regime to have reforms? Only an elected government can do reforms.
Okay. We'll take that to Mr. Khan for his response as well. I also want to understand from both of you, very quick word from both of you with respect to the SARC revival. Many experts, they suggest that India's support for SARC would depend on the organization's ability to address regional security concerns and at the same time promote economic cooperation. Ambassador Sikri, do you agree with that?
I think that SARC, regional cooperation in South Asia, is very important for the government of India. India has given its all to the progress of SARC. But we have always seen that SARC, one country in SARC, Pakistan, has always brought in extraneous issues, has created a divide, and has tried to prevent implementations of many of the excellent decisions that SARC has taken. I can give you that when our Prime Minister attended the Kathmandu SARC summit, which was the last SARC summit that was held, he said so, that India will go ahead with regional cooperation. This is a great priority for us. We will go ahead with all the countries if they are willing, and if they are not willing, we'll go ahead with some of the countries. So you have seen in the last few years the way in which the BBIN has progressed, Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, and Nepal. And it has progressed, and we have also given focus on BIMSTEC. In fact, when the two foreign ministers, foreign affairs advisor and our foreign affairs minister met in Muscat, the talk was about the BIMSTEC summit, which is going to take place on April 2 to 4 in Bangkok, and maybe we should focus on that.
All right, so point taken, ma'am. We are unfortunately running short of time. I'll like to have Mr. Khan respond to that. A very quick word from you, sir.
I think the reason Bangladesh is sort of wanting the SARC revived is Bangladesh wants to have its relation, whether it's India, Pakistan, as well as other neighbors, through that framework, right? Because the foreign policy during the Hasina regime was too aligned with India in terms of looking at Pakistan and every other neighbor from the Indian perspective. So Bangladesh would like to have an independent perspective, a sort of a regional platform where it can interact with all neighbors on an equal footing. In terms of, Madam pointing out the election reforms, the reforms are being discussed through discussions with all political parties.
Okay.
No, but Awami League has been entirely left out.
Awami League is right now in hiding.
Has been entirely left out.
India, they're all in hiding. Who's going to sit? I mean, most of them are wanted for the killings in July. There's 1,400 people killed.
Well, I think one should remember that.
All right, we're extremely sorry. We are running short of time. The big question is, could the border tensions further strain the bilateral ties, or will these talks actually help better the ties between the two countries? We'll have to wait and watch. Ambassador Sikri and Mubin Shadman Khan, thank you very much for sharing your views with us. We'll take a very short break, but on the other side, the Indian deputies from the United States, they share their ordeal to NDTV.
At Tesco Mobile, unlock even better phone deals with your club card. Get our 30 gig SIM for just £12.50 a month with club card prices, saving you £30. Better yet, your club card lets you unlock more than just great deals, like frozen prices and no EU roaming fees until the end of your contract. It pays to be connected. Search Tesco Mobile. Every little helps.
Hi, it's Phoebe from Auto Trader's monthly electric car giveaway, and we're pleased to say that you've won a brand new electric car.
just a dream, honestly. It really is a dream. Oh my God. Me and my boyfriend talk about the Auto Trader competition every single month. I was waiting for the know you ever won.
Love a good deal? Try free to play Deal or No Deal, only at Tombola. There's up to £1,000 to be won. Get that good deal feeling. Open for fun.
Please, can you send someone out? The poor thing is so skinny, I don't think he can walk. Oh, the poor thing. This is awful.
Okay, let me take an address.
Today, the RSPCA will answer over 2,000 calls about animal cruelty and neglect.
Just completely unacceptable, isn't it, mate?
Today, we will need to take over 100 animals into our care. Today, we urgently need your help to save them. Please call 0800 121 4228. Every minute of every day, animals are suffering heartbreaking cruelty and neglect. Every day, our team works tirelessly to save them. A gift of just £2 a month will help us do even more. Answer more calls, rescue more innocent animals, and provide more life-saving treatments. But today, animals are suffering terrible abuse and neglect. Help us save them.
He's just been left tied up, I think. Poor thing's got no hair on him. He's in a terrible state.
Today, please call 0800 121 4228 or text TODAY to 82727 and give £2 a month. That's 0800 121 4228. Thank you.
What are you so happy about?
I've just made a claim. We could be owed thousands.
My claim group?
Yeah, the cars we bought on finance, well, the lenders could have charged hidden commissions. It's dead simple to claim.
Hey, I had 2 cars before we met.
Go to My Claim Group. You could be owed thousands in hidden commissions from cars you bought on finance since 2007, even if you can't remember the details.
Done.
Simple, eh?
Go to My Claim Group now.
Claims made simple.
Welcome back. As President Trump's crackdown on immigration continues, a third batch of 112 illegal Indian immigrants from the United States, they landed at Amritsar on Sunday night. This comes after the second batch of 119 Indians arrived at the airport on Saturday. Now, deportations will continue every other week till all the illegal immigrants are returned to their home countries. This, in fact, comes days after Prime Minister Modi returned from a successful trip to Washington, where he met with President Trump for the first time in the latter's second term. Very assured that the United States and India is ready to take back verified illegal immigrants from India. Now, amid the entire row over inhuman treatment of deportees, NDTV's Gurpreet Singh Chinna, he spoke to the deportees who landed in Amritsar about their ordeal, including not being allowed to wear their turbans in the flight. Listen in.
We have Mandeep Singh with us, so we will talk to him. He has just deported back from US to India. So we will talk to him to understand how was his journey. तो आपका मनदीप जी कैसा सफ़र रहा?
ਸਫ਼ਰ ਸਰ ਮੇਰਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਗੰਦਾ ਰਿਹਾ। ਮੇਰਾ ਨਹੀਂ, ਤਕਰੀਬਨ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਦਾ ਸਫ਼ਰ ਗੰਦਾ ਰਿਹਾ। ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਇੱਥੋਂ ਏਜੰਟ ਕੋਈ ਕਰ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਆ, ਰਸਤੇ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਬੰਦਾ ਪਰੇਸ਼ਾਨ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਪਹਿਲੋਂ ਇੱਥੋਂ ਕਹਿ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ 1 ਨੰਬਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਭੇਜਣਾ ਆ। ਜਦੋਂ 2-4 ਫਲਾਈਟਾਂ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੀਆਂ, ਬੰਦਾ ਵੀ ਇਹ ਸੋਚਦਾ ਕਿ 1 ਨੰਬਰ 'ਚ ਹੀ ਜਾ ਰਹੇ ਆ। ਰਸਤੇ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਇਹੋ ਜਿਹੀ ਜਗ੍ਹਾ 'ਤੇ ਫਸ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਆ, ਫਿਰ ਬੰਦੇ ਨੂੰ ਗੱਡੀਆਂ 'ਤੇ ਹੀ ਸਫ਼ਰ ਕਰਨਾ ਪੈਂਦਾ। ਰਸਤੇ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਬੰਦਾ ਜਦੋਂ ਇੰਨਾ ਪਰੇਸ਼ਾਨ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦਾ, ਫਿਰ ਬੰਦਾ ਇਹ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਯਾਰ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਭੇਜਣਾ ਉਵੇਂ ਭੇਜ ਦਿਓ। ਅਤੇ ਹੁਣ ਮੈਂ ਪਨਾਮਾ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਵੀ ਗਿਆ। ਪਨਾਮਾ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇੰਨੀ ਤੰਗੀ ਕੱਟੀ ਹੈ ਨਾ, ਉੱਥੋਂ ਮੈਂ ਖੁਦ ਇਹ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਯਾਰ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਵਾਪਸ ਭੇਜ ਦਿਓ ਜਾਂ ਅੱਗੇ ਕੱਢ ਦਿਓ।
तो जब आपको लाया गया, क्या आपको हैंडकफ किया था, आपको चेन्स डाली हुई थी, हाथ बांधे हुए थे, पैर बांधे हुए थे, कैसे लेके आए?
ਜਦੋਂ ਕੈਂਪ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਬਾਹਰ ਕੱਢ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਆ ਨਾ, ਕੈਂਪ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਹੱਥ ਘੜੀਆਂ ਤੇ ਪੈਰਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਜੰਜੀਰਾਂ ਲਾ ਕੇ ਮਤਲਬ ਜਹਾਜ਼ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਬਿਠਾ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਆ। ਫਿਰ ਉਹ ਅੰਮ੍ਰਿਤਸਰ ਆ ਕੇ ਹੀ ਜਹਾਜ਼ ਲੈਂਡ ਹੋਣ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਸਾਡੀਆਂ ਜੰਜੀਰਾਂ ਤੇ ਹੱਥ ਘੜੀਆਂ ਖੋਲੀਆਂ ਸੀ।
यूएसए सेकंड प्लेन आया और उसमें हरप्रीत सिंह भी आए। आइए बात करते हैं हरप्रीत सिंह से। तो आप कैसे गए, कब गए और कैसे आपके साथ व्यवहार हुआ?
मैं जी 22 जुलाई दिल्ली तो ਚੜਿਆ ਇਟਲੀ ਗਿਆ ਮੈਂ ਉੱਥੇ ਮੈਂ 3 ਮਹੀਨੇ ਰਿਹਾ 3 ਮਹੀਨੇ ਬਾਅਦ ਏਜੰਟ ਨੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਫਿਰ ਸੱਦਿਆ ਬਾਰਸੀਲੋਨਾ ਤੋਂ ਮੈਂ ਫਿਰ ਸਪੇਨ ਜਦੋਂ ਫਲਾਈਟ ਸੀਗੀ ਸਾਡੀ ਉਦੋਂ ਸਾਡੀ ਡੋਂਕੀ ਸਟਾਰਟ ਹੋਈ ਸੀ ਉੱਥੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਗਏ ਸਿਲਵਾਡੋਰ ਤੋਂ ਸਾਨੂੰ 1 ਦਿਨ ਰੱਖਿਆ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਉੱਥੇ ਫਿਰ ਗਵਾਟੇਮਾਲਾ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਲੈ ਗਏ ਗਵਾਟੇਮਾਲਾ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਚੜ੍ਹਨਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਉੱਥੋਂ ਸਪੇਨ ਤੋਂ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਪੇਮੈਂਟ ਅਸੀਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ बॉर्डर क्रॉस करा के लवाएंगे ਤੁਹਾਡੇ को
अमेरिका किस डेट को पहुंचे और जब वहां पहुंचे तो क्या हुआ
ਜਦ ਅਸੀਂ ਉੱਥੇ ਪਹੁੰਚੇ ਆ ਬਾਰਡਰ ਕ੍ਰੋਸ ਕਰਕੇ 24 ਜਨਵਰੀ 'ਚ ਤੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਵਾਲਾ ਲੈ ਗਿਆ ਚੱਕ ਕੇ ਉੱਥੋਂ ਗੱਡੀ 'ਚ ਪਾ ਕੇ ਲੈ ਗਿਆ ਸਾਡਾ ਸਮਾਨ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਪਰਸਨਲ ਲਿਫਾਫੇ 'ਚ ਪਾ ਲਿਆ ਕੱਪੜੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਉਹ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਇੱਕ ਕਾਰਡ ਦੇਤਾ ਕਾਰਡ ਦੇ ਕੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਕਮਰੇ 'ਚ ਲੈ ਗਏ ਤਸ਼ਮੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਕੱਟ ਲਏ ਬੂਟਾਂ ਦੇ ਬੂਟ ਦਿੱਤੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਇਦਾਂ ਹੀ ਇੱਕ ਲੋਅਰ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਇੱਕ ਟੀ-ਸ਼ਰਟ ਦਿੱਤੀ हाँ जी
तो टॉर्चर भी करते थे वहाँ पे जब अमेरिका में रहते
हाँ जी सारी रात सौन नहीं दिंदे सीगे ना दिने सौन दिंदे सीगे ਜਦੋਂ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਨੀਂਦ ਆਉਂਦੀ ਸੀ ਉਦੋਂ ਬੈਲ ਖੜਕਾ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ
All right, my colleague Gurpreet Singh Chinna joins us to get us more on this entire story. Gurpreet, you have spoken to many of these deportees and the conditions that they have narrated are absolutely horrific. We understand that there is another flight and multiple flights that will be coming with the Indian deportees. Is there any sort of government intervention as far as providing them with jobs, etc. is concerned?
Well, yes, of course. So we have seen the Punjab government, they have already taken up this issue and they have already started proceeding against the illegal travel agents. But in the nutshell, what we have learned when we talk to multiple people who have deported from US, there is a specific gang which is being run by the illegal travel agents and multiple travel agents are involved. Even in Punjab, we have seen the people who have been sent to US, they are saying not only Punjab travel agents help were instrumental to send them abroad. Even some people from Haryana, they were also involved. Now we have seen that even the family members, they are also concerned. They are saying around 50 lakh, more than 50 lakh rupees have been given from their pocket. Some of the people, they have already sold their land and after that they had paid this amount to the travel agents. Now they are also hopeful the government will intervene into this matter. They will recover that money. At the same time, they say those who have been deported from US, the government should provide them employment also so that further the people should not follow this donkey route. But this is the horrific experience which they had explained to NDTV when we were talking to them. And even they are also saying the government should conduct a multiple level investigation to find out what was the motive behind these travel agents, whether it's only money concerned or there is something else which is going on between all these travel agents. So let's wait for the police investigation. Let's wait for the government investigation which has already been initiated. We have seen the Punjab Chief Minister Bhagwant Singh Mann, he has already visited Amritsar airport where he has confirmed to the family members that definitely they will try to inquire about each and every detail. Once they are going to come back, and after that they will be conducting these investigations to find out who are these illegal travel agents who were instrumental to take them abroad in the through illegal route. Back to studio.
All right, Gurpreet Singh Chinna, thank you very much for getting us all the latest. And Singapore's Indian origin leader of the opposition, Pritam Singh, was found guilty of giving false testimony to a parliamentary committee, a verdict that could see him disqualified from parliament and contesting a general election this year. In the verdict, the deputy principal district judge, Luke Tan, he convicted Singh of 2 charges related to his handling of a case against Raisa Khan, a former lawmaker from his party who lied to parliament in a separate case. Now, Singh, who's 48-year-old, was accused of willfully giving 2 false answers to the Committee of Privileges during its inquiry into Khan's case on December 10th and the 15th of December in 2021. Now, Singh, he faces up to 3 years in jail, a fine of up to 7,000 Singaporean dollar or both for each charges. While politically the conviction could have disqualified Singh from his parliamentary seat as well and rule out his standing in the next general election, which must be called by November 2025. Now, Singapore's elections department has confirmed that the sentence imposed on Singh does not reach the threshold to disqualify him as an MP. It said that disqualification is based on the sentence imposed for a single offence. The Indian origin leader has also confirmed that he will be running in the upcoming general elections. And Qatar's Emir Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani is making a significant visit to India, his first in nearly a decade. This two-day trip is packed with important meetings, including sit-downs with Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the External Affairs Minister, Dr. S. Jaishankar. The agenda is focused on strengthening economic ties, particularly in energy and trade. Now, Qatar is a crucial partner for India, and this visit aims to unlock new avenues for collaboration beyond energy. The Emir is accompanied by a high-level delegation which will explore opportunities for investment and cooperation in various sectors. Time for a very short break. More on the other side.
From tech titan to global philanthropist, Bill Gates has had a huge impact on the lives of millions across the world. As the co-founder of Microsoft, he's in a sense defined what personal computing has been for all of us. The vision that he had of the personal computer way back in the 70s and its evolution and the transformation of Microsoft has been fundamental in terms of tech, in terms of IT, in terms of the entire sector. And it's time now for Mr. Gates to pen his thoughts down, which is why he's come out with this. This is the first of 3 books. It's called Source Code, My Beginnings, and it's my great privilege to be over here in Palm Springs, in California, to speak about this. Thank you, and I'm delighted to be over here, fly all the way across the world, and I've had a chance to really go through this book. It's very, very interesting.
Thank you.
One of the primary themes which I found throughout the book has to do with your own intensity. The fact that you've always been driven. I mean, we know that is a fact, but we perhaps didn't know about the extent to which you were focused. And you write, for example, and I quote, "Like one of those watertight hatches on a submarine, I could shut out the rest of the world. Driven by the sense of responsibility I felt for Microsoft, I had closed the hatch door and locked the wheel. No girlfriend, no hobbies. My social life centered around Paul, Rick, and the people we worked with. It was the one way I knew to stay ahead." Could you tell us about how your focus ultimately resulted in you being the Bill Gates we know today?
Well, part of my makeup, even from a young age, was that if something was fascinated, I could really dig in on it. So, you know, learning to play cards with my grandmother, having books read to me, reading books, and mathematics early on fascinated me, and so I went into depth. But then I took that to a new level when I started Microsoft, because I knew, you know, there'd be other people trying to do software, and I decided, no, I'm going to make sure we stay ahead. I was always kind of worried somebody else would do well, and so during my 20s, I was really monomaniacal, not only using that ability to focus, but kind of making sure that software was the only thing that I focused on.
Welcome back. Today marks 500 days since the war in Gaza began, a conflict that has killed tens of thousands and devastated the region. The war was triggered by Hamas's attack on Israel on the 7th of October 2023. Since then, 90% of Gaza's population has been displaced, and 73 hostages taken in this attack remain in captivity in Gaza. A fragile ceasefire has held for nearly a month, but its current phase, it is set to expire in early March. It remains unclear whether both sides will extend the truce, negotiate a more lasting ceasefire, or resume fighting. Meanwhile, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has signaled his support for US President Donald Trump's controversial plan for Gaza, which includes relocating the Palestinian population. Benjamin Netanyahu has called it, and I quote, the only viable plan to enable a different future. Now, Netanyahu discussed the proposal with U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who began his Middle East visit by reaffirming U.S. support for Israel's war objectives, stating that Hamas must be eradicated. His remarks have cast further uncertainty over the ceasefire as talks on its next phase are yet to begin.
As the Israel-Hamas ceasefire in Gaza holds on by a thread, 17th February marks the 500th day of the war triggered by Hamas's attack on Israel on October 7, 2023. With days to go for the first phase of the truce to end, Israeli negotiators are headed to Egypt to discuss next phase of the ceasefire. Meanwhile, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, in his first visit to Israel since taking up the post, hailing U.S. President Trump's Gaza takeover plan and vowing to eliminate Hamas from Gaza, further casting doubts on negotiations.
Hamas cannot continue as a military or government force. And frankly, as long as it stands as a force that can govern or as a force that can administer or as a force that can threaten by use of violence, peace becomes impossible. They must be eliminated. They must be eradicated.
Looking at some of the key figures in the war shows the scale of death and destruction that has taken place in the last 500 days of the war. While 1,200 people were killed in Israel on October 7, 2023, 251 people were taken hostage, of which 73 continue to remain in captivity in Gaza, while 36 are believed to be dead. Meanwhile, over 48,000 have died in the war in Gaza and roughly 12,000 injured. Israel's armed forces have also faced heavy losses, with 846 Israeli soldiers having been killed in combat, while over 10,000 have been fired at Israel from Gaza. To date, roughly 90% of Gaza's 2 million population has been displaced. Marking their loved ones' 500 days in captivity, families of Israeli hostages held in Gaza held various protests around Israel, pushing for President Trump to bring back the rest of the hostages home. Meanwhile, Yemenis gathered in the capital Sana'a to protest against US President Trump's plan to force Palestinians out of Gaza. While the Netanyahu government is set to discuss the next phase of the ceasefire with Hamas, Egypt is drawing up an alternative plan to Trump's proposal to turn the Gaza Strip into what he called a US-owned Riviera of the Middle East. While Cairo's plan excludes Hamas from governing the region, it maintains that Palestinians must be given the right to remain in Gaza. With so many questions left unanswered, only time will tell what happens next in this war that has devastated West Asia. With Disha Bagchi, Bureau Report, NDTV.
Well, there are key concerns as far as the Israel-Hamas ceasefire is concerned, and we'll try and find answers to some of those. In fact, I'm currently joined by Dr. Shubha Chaudhry, founder of the Middle East Insights platform. I also have Lev Aran, Israeli journalist and columnist, who are joining us at this moment. Shubha, I want to start by asking you, how are you looking at this entire ceasefire situation at the moment? And are we looking at, a collapse of this ceasefire soon? What is your opinion?
Thank you so much, Osama, for calling me. Firstly, the ceasefire technically ends on 1st of March. Now, within Netanyahu's government, the security officials are against the entire idea of not going to the second round of the ceasefire with the kind of plan that was ahead. At the same time, the protesters, the Israeli civilians, are protesting in the kibbutz area in Tel Aviv. They're calling it the 500-minute fast. They want more 6 Israeli hostages to be released, which is called as the Israeli Ramadan releases that Israeli government has called. Now, taking into consideration, this plan is only not for Gaza, it's also for West Bank, because Jared Kushner is investing heavily in the settlement firms in West Bank. Now, looking at the sustainability, it is historic in the sense that history repeating itself. When Truman, the US president, was not ready to recognize Israel, it was Eddie Jacobson who went ahead, and that is why US recognized Israel in 11 minutes. At the same time, it's also like how Balfour Declaration gave a declaration of sympathy on 2nd of November 1917, when they did not even have any kind of jurisdiction over the Ottoman area. So it is history repeating itself. But look at the cagey answers given by Trump. Trump doesn't want troops on the ground, US troops. Trump doesn't want any kind of intervention by US. It is putting Netanyahu at a difficult spot because he's also undergoing the corruption trials. Today was the 10th hearing, I suppose. And a lot of fractions are emerging within the so-called Bibiist, within Israel. The safety, security of more than 64,000 Israeli civilians who have to return to their homes and are living in complete vulnerable conditions in bunker houses and safe zones. That is something which Netanyahu government has to take into consideration. It will cost around $7 billion to rebuild homes in the kibbutz area.
All right, Mr. Levaran, with the entire ceasefire situation at the moment, with Donald Trump's Gaza takeover plan, where does it leave Benjamin Netanyahu moving ahead?
All political pundits agree that Netanyahu did not plan the second phase of the deal with Hamas. It was a dictate by Trump, and he could not walk over the red lines that Trump put, because Trump is not Biden, and Netanyahu is afraid of Trump. So it is not only about foreign policy. We also have our Desi kitchery politics in Israel with a coalition government. Netanyahu lost 6 MPs. He wants them back to the coalition. And to bring them back to the coalition, he needs the collapse of the negotiations. So right now, Netanyahu is more afraid of Trump than he is afraid of the 6 MPs that left his coalition. So I don't think that Netanyahu has the appetite to keep on the negotiations with Hamas. But on the other hand, he sees the big plans of Trump about relocating the Gazans, and it gives him some kind of a domestic audience to explain them that in the big picture, Trump is very pro-Israeli, and even if now we do not understand as right-wing Israelis why Trump wants a ceasefire with Hamas, in the future we will see that the Gazan border will be much quieter.
Okay, having said that, do you feel, as you put it, does Netanyahu has an appetite for escalating this war? And as far as this entire ceasefire, phase 2, second phase of the ceasefire is concerned, will Donald Trump and Netanyahu, because of the kind of relationship that they share, will they clash over the second phase of ceasefire? Mr. Aran.
They will not, because Netanyahu will be obedient. Netanyahu will comply, because Netanyahu has no other choice.
Okay, all right. Shubhda, do you feel that Donald Trump will consider Egypt's vision for Gaza? Because that is also another important aspect to it.
Unfortunately, the Arab lobby in US is not very strong. So be it Egypt, be it Kuwait, be it Saudi Arabia, though Trump wants the Israel-Saudi peace accords, but I do not think that they would allow or give any kind of prevalence to Egypt. They also fund the Egyptian army, actually. So they can cut off the funds, and Sisi has to again bow down to Trump. So now the question is that what is the end game for Netanyahu? On 18th of February, they supposedly have to get out of, the IDF has to get out of Lebanon. But Netanyahu is saying that no, we will have 5 posts where we will be there. At the same time, Netanyahu is saying that, look, we will not let Gaza be governed either by Palestinian Authority or by Hamas. Third thing is that for India specifically, because India has cordial relationships with both, in our multi-vector policy with both Israel and Palestine, the Qatar Emir, who is coming after 10 years to India, in fact, I think he has reached today, Qatar is a mediator in the ceasefire deal.
Yep.
So India can try its soft power and diplomatic pursuits, but I would really, really wish that the government should also adhere, specifically Netanyahu, to the everyday problems that are also now happening to the kind of conditions the innocent Israelis are living in.
Yeah.
And they do not have any mandate over Gaza.
Absolutely.
It is, it's history repeating itself.
Okay, Livaran, when we talk about the mediators and countries like the United States, Qatar and Egypt, how do you see the role of international mediators here, especially in brokering ceasefires and prisoner exchanges going further?
Look, I think the Arab world is facing a crisis because when Trump is speaking about relocating the Palestinians, it doesn't mean that it is the only plan that he has, but he wants to see what the Arabs are offering. And we see that once Trump has a concrete plan, we see the Arabs feuding between themselves, even Jordan and Egypt. Both of them are pro-American entities in the Middle East. They cannot agree about the fate of Palestinians. So in a way, what Trump did is the same what he did with Mexico. He put a high tariff, but what he really wanted to see is like half-leg soldiers of Mexican soldiers on the border preventing drugs and immigrants that come to the U.S. So I don't see right now a unity among the Arab states. The only unity that they have is that they don't want Gazans inside their own territory. But otherwise, when Trump asks them, what is your alternative? You see that they are very, very, very confused.
Right. That's a very interesting point you've raised, Levaran, and I want to get a response from Shubhra Chaudhary, Dr. Shubhra Chaudhary as well. Do you feel Donald Trump can, have the same sort of strategy that he employed with Mexico, etc., with the Middle East countries there?
I don't think so because, though he's giving two different signals. He at one point accepts that there was a genocide. Then he says that, in an analogy that this is my table and the pen is Israel. And then he tries to applaud Israelis. So he's quite confused in terms of what exactly is the geopolitics of the region. Secondly, Marco Rubio, maximum, his candidacy, he was very anti-Hamas right from the very beginning. So they all are taking into consideration the kind of semiotics or language that they had employed. But the answer now remains is that I agree with the fact that the Arab unity is consistently absent. It's not just about 1991. It is about Black September in 1970. It is also about so much of, the Arab-Israeli conflict became, though conflict is not the right term, but it became Israel-Palestine conflict. The entire idea is the Arabs themselves are divided. It's not only about Shia-Sunni divides. But it's also about the military-industrial complex. It's also about the tacit alliances with Israel that they have. It's also about the artificial intelligence summits and all of that.
Dr. Shubhra Chaudhary and Levaran, it is indeed a very delicate situation that we are dealing with at the moment, and we don't really know the future of this ceasefire. Thank you very much to both of you for joining us and sharing your views. We'll have to wait and watch what happens next. Time now for a very short break. More on the other side.
Who doesn't love a good deal?
Meal deals.
Be rude not to deals. Seal deals? Or a bit of deal or no deal? We've got free-to-play deals with no deposit required. And up to £1,000 to be won every day. Get that good deal feeling only at Tombola.
Now I'm retired, I can spend more time with my grandson. I'm proud of him and want to help any way I can. Which reminds me.
Welcome to British Seniors, the UK's #1 rated provider of over 50s life insurance.
Hi, I'd like a quick quote.
No problem. We're proud to offer our seniors lifetime guarantee. With 100% of claims having been paid, we guarantee your premiums will never go up and that you'll speak to one of our specialists in the UK.
Well, that's good to know.
UK residents aged 50 to 80 are guaranteed to be accepted. Depending on your age, your loved ones can get a cash payout up to £10,000.
And that money can help with my funeral costs or even be used as a gift. I'll do it.
Plus, when you sign up, you'll receive a £135 gift card and free 24/7 GP advice and health services.
Thanks, Mum, for everything.
Be proud to protect your loved ones with British Seniors. To get a free quote today, call our UK team on 0800 158 552 or visit britishseniors.co.uk.
Play the Great Big Lottery and you can help make more wins happen at Great Ormond Street Hospital. Like bringing fun to Rajveer's ward, discovering new treatments and helping children go home sooner. Just call 0800 472 5774 or search Gosh Lottery to start playing for just £1. There's up to £10,000 up for grabs in our annual Super Draw, plus a £1,000 jackpot every week, and many more great cash prizes. So call or go online now for a chance to win big prizes and make more wins happen.
Our first year as a family flew by, and now I want to make sure he'll be financially protected for all his birthdays to come. That's why I'm calling Smart Insurance.
Hi, how can I help?
Hi, I'd like a quick quote for family life insurance.
OK, you can choose a benefit amount up to £750,000 depending on your age.
That's great.
If you're a UK resident aged 18 to 64, you can apply with just a few health and lifestyle questions. For £250,000 of cover, the price starts at just £14.77 a month.
That's less than I thought, and could help my wife pay off the mortgage.
And with our Smart Family Guarantee, you'll have peace of mind.
That's good to know.
You'll also receive a 100% advance in the event of terminal illness and 10% cashback on your first year's premiums. That's the Smart Cashback. Plus, you get your choice of a £125 gift card.
Protect the life you've built the smart way. To get a free quote today, call our specialist UK team on 0808 141 5855 or visit smartinsurance.co.uk.
Welcome back. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, he is in the United Arab Emirates as momentum grows for potential peace talks ending Moscow's war on the country. This marks Zelensky's first visit to the UAE since the war began, that almost 3 years ago. The UAE has long been floated as a possible site for peace talks, given the large population of Russian and Ukrainian expatriates who have flooded the country since the war began. Now, Zelensky has said that the top priority of his visit is to bring even more Ukrainians home from captivity. Zelensky's visit comes ahead of U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio leading a delegation to Saudi Arabia for direct talks with Russian officials. Now, these talks are aimed to end Moscow's invasion of Ukraine and strengthen U.S.-Russia relations. Now, Kiev was not invited to the talks. However, reports suggest that the Ukrainian president will be in Saudi Arabia the following day on the 19th of February.
After almost 3 years of mayhem, countless deaths and epical damage to infrastructure, there seems to be some hope towards bringing an end to the Russia-Ukraine war. As U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio is leading a delegation to Saudi Arabia for direct talks with Russian officials on Tuesday to seek an end to Moscow's invasion of Ukraine. However, some questions were being raised on the meeting as Ukrainian President Zelensky said Kiev has not been invited for talks. US President Donald Trump addressed those concerns by saying the Ukrainian leader will indeed be a part of the conversation, but did not elaborate on the role he'd play in the talks.
Do you expect Zelensky to be involved in these conversations? What will his role be?
I do. He will be involved, yes.
Zelensky has said he wouldn't accept any negotiations about Ukraine that don't include his country. At the same time, European governments have also demanded a role at the table. In the backdrop of this diplomatic tussle is a devastating war. The true death toll is the subject of intense scrutiny as Russia seldom comments on its battlefield losses. And Ukraine has only recently begun releasing official information on its figures. To add to the mess, civilian deaths in occupied areas of Ukraine are largely unknown. According to figures released by Ukraine, the UN and open source data, the total death toll of Ukrainian and Russian soldiers, as well as Ukrainian civilians, stands at about 1.5 lakh. Trump shocked Washington's European allies recently by calling Russian President Vladimir Putin without consulting them or Kyiv beforehand and declaring an immediate start to peace talks. Interestingly, Zelensky is in the UAE right now, but it's not clear whether his visit is linked to the US-Russia talks in neighboring Saudi Arabia. Some top Zelensky advisors have said that there was no possibility of Ukrainian and Russian representatives meeting directly in the immediate future, further creating confusion about the possibility of full-fledged peace talks. With Vishal Vivek, Bureau Report, NDTV World.
And Germany's four main chancellor candidates, they faced off in a live TV debate on Sunday, just a week before voters head to the polls. This marks the first time four candidates, they have shared the debate stage, Chancellor Olaf Scholz and the far-right alternative for Germany. They discuss key issues, including the economy and Russia's invasion of Ukraine. With just 7 days to go, right-wing opposition parties are leading in the polls. Merz's Christian Democrats stand at around 30%, while Weidel's alternative for Germany is at 20%. Incumbent Chancellor Olaf Scholz's
Die Ukraine muss eine demokratische, souveräne Nation sein, über deren Köpfe hinweg nicht entschieden wird. Das werden wir als Europäer nicht zulassen. Deshalb fahre ich auch morgen nach Paris und rede mit vielen Freunden dort, wo wir uns zusammentreffen, um genau das zu tun.
Chinese President Xi Jinping met with top leaders from China's tech sector, urging them to show their talent and have confidence in the country's model and market. The meeting included top tech names such as Alibaba's Jack Ma and Huawei's Ren Zhengfei. The high-profile pro-business gathering marks a shift from Beijing's strict regulatory crackdown on tech giants 4 years ago, signaling support for the private sector. She reassured business leaders of continued government support as China's economy faces growing global challenges. He called on them to drive technological innovation amid rising competition with the United States and promised stronger protections for entrepreneurs and greater market access. This was Xi Jinping's first meeting of its kind since 2018, held at a time when private sector confidence has been shaken by economic uncertainty, US-China tensions, and past regulatory crackdowns. That's all we have for you. Keep watching NDTV World.
Ladies and gentlemen, we found the reason why Britain hasn't been so great of late. It's because the country hasn't been eating enough Weetabix.
It makes sense. I've been eating croissants.
Me too. We should deliver Weetabix to where it's needed most, to whoever's in charge of fixing potholes. VAR.
Yes.
And drivers who park like this.
Yeah.
To Britain, we must say, have you had your Weetabix?
Do you need to borrow money? for home improvements, a car, or paying off debts, then you've come to the right place. Everyday Loans. Just tell us how much you want to borrow, up to £15,000. At Everyday Loans, we offer a service that's friendly and reliable. Apply online or on your phone. So whatever your credit record, apply now at everydayloans.co.uk.
We recommend seeking free debt advice if you are taking out a debt consolidation loan.
Representative APR 99.9%.
I'm a simple man, but now I'm in my 50s, things are getting a little more complicated. Retirement's peeking around the corner, and I wanted to make sure my family would be really looked after if anything happened to me. That's why I decided to learn more about over 50s life insurance from Cover Today. They're the only over 50s life insurer with no waiting period. Unlike other insurers who could make you wait up to 2 years, with Cover Today, you're fully covered from day one. And you're covered for the whole of your life. Plus, unlike other things in life, the price never goes up. Learning more can be simpler. Go online or talk to their friendly UK team in just one phone call.
Cover Today are the only over 50s life insurer with no waiting period and no annoying trips to the doctors either.
Now I'm with Cover Today, I can get on with something much more interesting.
Plus, you get your choice of a £125 gift card. To find out more about Cover Today, call our friendly UK team on 0808 143 4774 or visit covertoday.co.uk.
Gus could try to sell his car privately. Or get it sold today with We Buy Any Car. He could spend days on end trying to sell to a bunch of time wasters. Or sell in a flash and earn major dad points at the pool. Big fail or big splash? To get a quote in 30 seconds, enter your reg number now at WeBuyAnyCar.com.
Poor pet. Just shows you never know what's going to happen. That's why I'm looking into Smart Family Life Insurance.
Just like families, not all life insurance is the same. That's why we offer the Smart Family Guarantee. We guarantee a straightforward application process, award-winning service you can trust, and cover from day one. Plus, you get your choice of £125 gift card.
To get a free quote today, call our specialist UK team or visit smartinsurance.co.uk.
This is NDTV, and you're watching NDTV 24/7.
Another huge theme in the book, of course, is friendships. Various friendships. But let's start out early. Your closest friend was Kent. And you associated with him, you got on very well with him, you found him to be similar with, in many ways with you. You went on long cruises with him. And then you lost him. And you write, I had retreated into myself, watching a slideshow in my mind's eye, taking through images of recent days, grasping for evidence that what I had heard wasn't true. He died tragically. Could you tell us a little bit about the loss you felt?
Yeah, my childhood really only had this one traumatic event in it. I'd had grandparents die, but
Hello and welcome to the Southern View. I'm Bida Raghav. Special focus this evening on the big confrontation over the national education policy between Tamil Nadu and the centre. But first, the headlines we're tracking this hour. Sam Pitroda's China is not an enemy comment sparks off a Congress versus BJP exchange. The ruling party says it reflects a larger Congress conspiracy. Congress hits back, says it doesn't share Pitroda's views. Maharashtra police summoned YouTuber Ranveer Allahabadia to join the probe on February 24th. Rejects Samay Raina's request to record statement via video conferencing. Asks him to join the probe in person. The exchange sharpens in Tamil Nadu as the noted Tamil publication Vikatan's website remains inaccessible and allegedly blocked after a controversial cartoon of the Prime Minister. The Karnataka Lokayukta seeks more time to submit the final report in the Muda case to the High Court. Next hearing on the 24th in the politically sensitive case involving Chief Minister Siddaramaiah. Well, first up this evening, it's another bitter Tamil Nadu versus centre battle over the national education policy, which Tamil Nadu has refused to implement in its entirety. The DMK is on the offensive and is planning to hold a massive protest on Tuesday against the centre after Union Minister Dharmendra Pradhan's comment that the centre will not release funds under the Samarga Shiksha scheme till the state implemented the NEP. The state is supposed to get 2,152 crore rupees, which has been held back. The DMK's bone of contention is against the NEP's three-language formula, which the centrist says is aimed at creating a national level playing field and has been accepted by all states and is a politically motivated opposition by the DMK. While the DMK claims that the centre is imposing Hindi through the three-language policy of the NEP, the centre has argued that there is absolutely no imposition of Hindi, and apart from the mother tongue and English, the third language could be any other Indian language. This confrontation likely to play out in the streets of Chennai tomorrow, and even the AIDMK leader Edappadi Panichami has asked the centre not to hold back funds. Let's get the top political reactions from Chennai before we head to our special panel this evening on this issue.
We are not playing divisive politics. In fact, the BJP government is trying to force Hindi on us. Please don't impose three-language policy.
Education is concurrent list, but to create a competition among the students, to create a level playing field, we have to come to a common platform. But what is wrong if a student in Tamil Nadu will learn multilingual, come to the multilingual aspect in his study? It can be Tamil, it can be English, it can be other Indian language. There is no imposition of any Hindi or any language on them. Some friends in Tamil Nadu are doing politics, but certainly Government of India is committed to implement NEP, and there are certain conditions with NEP.
Well, so is it the politics of language, or are there serious concerns? More importantly, what does a constant centre-state face-off do to the state of education? Well, joining me this evening, Dr. Saeed Hafiz of the DMK, Kalyana Raman of the BJP, Social Observer Sumant Raman, and our very own Dr. Sandeep Shastri. My first question to you, Dr. Saeed Hafiz, the centre's argument is that the three-language principle does not mean imposition of Hindi. The third language could be any Indian language, and that the DMK's opposition is purely a political ploy to play up the linguistic sentiment. What is your response?
I'll want to quote an RTI data which was released in 2022 by an activist. Kendra Vidyalaya schools which are there in Tamil Nadu, the question was simple: how many Tamil teachers are there in Kendra Vidyalaya schools which are run by Union government in Tamil Nadu? The answer was zero. Zero Tamil teachers, 53 Sanskrit teachers, and 103 Hindi teachers. This is the commitment that the Union government has about Tamil in Tamil Nadu for the schools which is run by them. This is the background you have to understand. Three, we are not against any language. We are against imposing three-language formula in Tamil Nadu. Coming to this concept of having a level playing field or improving the standards, I think your own union government is giving a data which says that Tamil Nadu is the front runner in almost all the parameters. When it comes to education, then you should be following the policy which the Tamil Nadu has done and achieved over last 5 decades or so, nearly half a century. But you are coming up with anything. Now to the issue of the funds, I want to make the timeline very clear. This Samagra Shiksha, the Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan is there for last 20 years. Now you come up with a policy in 2020 called NEP, and then you say, if you don't follow this policy which is brought in 2020, we will stop the tradition, we will stop the dividend of funds that has been following for last 20 years. That is absolutely ridiculous on the part of the union government. See, NEP is different, Samagra Shiksha is different. The union government is contradicting the objectives of Samagra Shiksha Abhiyan. As far as Samagra Shiksha Abhiyan is concerned, the objective is very clear that it is said that the state can prioritize its intervention, which means state can say what it wants and what it doesn't want. So the issue of now is only about the funds that has to be given through Samagra Shiksha Abhiyan. It's like if you call me for a 7 o'clock show, I say I'm ready to come for a 7 o'clock show, but you come and say if you attend 8 o'clock show only, then I'll allow you on 7 o'clock show. It is as simple as that. It's as similar as that. Which is very bizarre. You call me for a 7 o'clock show. I agreed. You give me 7 o'clock show. 8 o'clock show, we will talk later. But you cannot say if you're not coming for 8 o'clock show, your 7 o'clock show will be cancelled. This is the attitude of the union government.
Syed Hafiz is saying that if you don't come for the 8 o'clock show, you will not be taken on the 7 o'clock show. This is force. Respond to what he says.
I know, typical of the Dravidian formula. Now, by talking about the Kendriya Vidyalaya, he has tacitly considered that there is no scope for Hindi learning or Sanskrit learning in Tamil Nadu. That is why people throng to the Kendriya Vidyalayas to learn that. That is why there is no demand for Tamil in Kendriya Vidyalayas. That is why there are no Tamil teachers in Kendriya Vidyalaya. This is what he has indirectly considered, number one. Number two, where is this 2154, 2,154 comes from? Do you have a breakup of the figures? Mahesh is saying something about it. Where is the breakup given by it? And what are the conditionalities? What is the 60-40 formula between the central government and the state? These are unaddressed questions. This is precisely aimed at the elections that are nearing in the next 1 year to come. So, in order to set a narrative that the central government is not doing its dues towards Tamil Nadu, they are simply trying to mislead the society of this. Number three is that the three-language formula. The NEP clearly states that the three-language formula is nothing but two native languages. That means people who have 600-700 kilometers border between Tamil Nadu and Kerala, if people in that bordering districts want to learn Malayalam, they are within their right to learn Malayalam. This is three language. Or in Karnataka, which is also another abetting, Andhra Pradesh, another abetting state. So, those three languages, if
we seem to be having a Mr. Kalyanaraman, we seem to be having an internet connectivity issue with your frame is freezing up repeatedly. Maybe we can just set that a bit, but you made the core of your argument here that this is about ensuring greater standardization, and this argument has gone on. Sumant Raman, you've heard both sides make their points. The centre's argument clear, Tamil Nadu's argument again clear, saying that why a well-oiled, well-run machine, why are you breaking it with a sudden policy change that you're bringing in? How would you weigh both these arguments, and where would we bring the political dimension into this whole confrontation between the center and the state?
Look, my take on this is very simple. There is no compulsion to learn Hindi in the three-language policy. So the point is, children are being told to learn one more language. They are doing it all over the country. And unless the state can point out to a particular reason, saying that this is the reason why children should not learn a third language. For, if they can potentially come up, maybe they do a scientific study which finds that, children are not able to cope, children are not capable in Tamil Nadu of learning, which I don't think is right at all. Tamil Nadu students are among the best in the country. So there needs to be, first of all, if Hindi was made compulsory, I'll be the first person saying that the state should not accept it, because that is Hindi imposition. There is no question of saying that you have to learn Hindi, which is also the situation in some of these central schools running in the state, where until 6th standard or 7th standard, Hindi is compulsory. So that is completely unacceptable. Here, the issue is very simple. You are asking students to learn any third language of their choice, not necessarily Hindi. So where does Hindi imposition come here at all? I've gone through this new education policy multiple times. The first draft did say that the third language should be Hindi in non-Hindi speaking states. And I was one of those who strongly protested and said that is unacceptable, that is imposition of Hindi. They changed that draft. And then they said, make it any language. It does not have to be Hindi. So I'm still trying to understand on what grounds, on what rationale is the government of Tamil Nadu saying that our children do not need to learn a third language? Of course, it does not have to be Hindi. It can be any third language, right? The argument or that the
you're asking that question. Let me take that question to Syed Hafiz. Dr. Syed Hafiz, this is the same question that's been asked. You know, what is the rationale for opposing it, given that there is no Hindi imposition in this? Why is there such strong opposition to it? Is it purely because it's a policy that's propagated by the center and not on the merits of the policy? Sumant Sri Raman's question, please respond.
Raghav, I clearly told you what happens in Kendra Vidyalaya in Tamil Nadu. They have made it a policy till 6th standard, Tamil will not be taught. After 6 to 8, if you want Tamil, you need to club 20 students to bring in one Tamil teacher. So if there are only 2 students who want to learn Tamil in Kendra Vidyalaya, you will be denied of your right to learn Tamil. So this is the issue. You have to understand who is talking this. Let there be one, let there be two, let there be one, let there be two. Sir,
what is the problem if, in schools which are run by DMK leaders, is Hindi taught or not? Why are you teaching? You have love for Tamil, you feel Hindi is being imposed. This is the same logic.
This argument is very, sir, this argument is very bizarre. We have answered time and again. It is an option. If you want to learn. There are Hindi prachar.
Exactly. Here also
if you want to learn, let them go and learn.
Here also
nobody is stopping you, sir. Sir, who is learning German in Tamil Nadu?
Hang on.
Nobody is forcing you to learn Hindi.
French. Millions of students are learning Chinese.
Nobody is forcing Hindi.
Nobody is giving them that option. When there is a scope for a language, people will go and learn.
No. Syed.
Nobody is
Dr. Syed
forcing
Hafiz.
Hindi. Where is the Hindi imposition here?
No. Syed, again and again.
So, Suman sir,
that's the pure point that Suman Sri Raman is saying that. No. He's saying as far as the NEP is concerned, you're giving data as far as Kendriya Vidyalayas are concerned in spirit argument. But in terms of the core of accusing the NEP of imposing Hindi, Sumant Sri Raman is simply making the point that as far as the NEP is concerned, the third language is not Hindi imposition. Quick response from you before I go to Kalyan Raman.
Even before NEP talks about a third language, your government is imposing only Hindi on us. So you are bringing in with a third and you say again you have set up a rules. I will tell you if there are no 20 takers for Telugu. For example, in Chennai, I am in a school and only 2 people want Telugu, 18 want Hindi. What will the government do? Will it give fund for Telugu to people, 18 for Hindi? No, they will say Telugu is out of option here. You come and learn.
No.
This is the practical issue. We are seeing that is what they...
Okay, Kalyan Raman, you've heard both.
It's already evident in Kerala.
Kalyan Raman, come in on this. The argument that's being made by Syed emphatically.
Why in the rest of the country, the third language is not having a problem? Why only in Tamil Nadu? Number one. Number two is he keeps harping upon the Kendriya Vidyalayas. He is simply ignoring the fact that people are going there because they don't want to learn a particular language, or they want to learn a particular language there, which is available there. Third thing, very important thing. What are they talking about the Tamil being important? Let me tell you, the basic thing about what has happened in Tamil Nadu, the foundational learning study of 2022 in Tamil Nadu says that 50% of the third standard students cannot read Tamil properly. Only 20% have proficiency. On the contrary, the Telugus can read, 45% of Telugus can read proficiently, 44% Malayalis, 44% Kannadigas, and only 20% Tamils can read Tamil properly in third standard. What kind of schools you are running in the first place, Syed Hafiz? It is you who implemented the so-called Samachi Talvi that has brought down the education level so badly, pathetically in the state of Tamil Nadu. Now you are talking about
Mr. Kalyan Raman, the point the point that you are making.
I am coming to an important point. The
very quickly
Abhiyan and rest of the PMC and all are provided for the sake of improving upon the infrastructure, improving upon the linguistic skills, communication, critical thinking, the infrastructure, etc., smart classes. You people are trying to take the money from the central government to service the salaries of multiple people, not only limited to the teaching community. This is the very
okay. You are talking of use of money. Saeed Hafiz, go ahead.
Exactly.
And
They
then
don't have money. They are bankrupt. They want money badly without complying to the conditionalities accepted in the process.
Understand the educational budget of Tamil Nadu government is 46,000 crore only for the school education. This is the right demand that the union government goes to the poor people of Tamil Nadu. You cannot give a condition of implementing NEP and say I will stop you for the funds which you have been getting for 20 years. Nobody is answering that.
Irrespective of the language you all speak, if you speak over each other, we can't hear anybody. Saeed Hafiz, quick response from you to the question raised by Kalyandaman. 1 minute, Mr. Kalyandaman, let Saeed Hafiz respond. Let Saeed Hafiz respond. Saeed, quickly make a response.
I gave examples of KV where he is giving something else. There is also
give me breakup for 2154. Nothing more, nothing less. Where is this amount has come from?
No, hang on 1 minute. Sumant Raman, just weigh in on this argument. Weigh in on this. There are two sides to this. One that Saeed Hafiz is saying, which is very, the argument is that in spirit, there is no progression for it, and Tamil Nadu government has to do what it has to do in terms of it. The argument BJP is making is that you're purely making a political argument for it. You're using the funds from the center for your needs and not for the actual reason why it is allocated. Quick response from you.
No, my point is relevant to, look, what I want done for my children is what I should want done for any poor child in the state. The hypocrisy here is appalling. They run the most exclusive schools. They charge, forget about what they charge. They teach Hindi in those schools while claiming to love Tamil. And here is an option for poor children from across the state to learn an additional language. It is, for God's sake, where is the compulsion to learn Hindi? Somebody might want to learn Telugu. Somebody might want to learn Marathi. Somebody might want to learn something else. Now, you say that, look, you cannot have a minimum requirement of 20 students. Make that 10. That is a valid argument. But to say that children of my state should be deprived of the opportunity of learning. If you want, you go join another school. What about government schools? They are coming to government schools because they cannot pay fees in private schools. Government school education in Tamil Nadu is appallingly poor. And this is not a reflection on this government or previous government. It is a reflection across governments. That is why everybody goes to private schools. And let me ask a simple question. Give me one good reason for not learning an additional language, which children in every other part of the country will be permitted to.
Okay, you've raised that important question. Unfortunately, I've gone completely out of time on this debate, which is extremely important, but there are multiple layers. Let's not forget to the